Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And we love cozy puzzle games.
We do, especially when they have animals involved in them.
Like...
Nocturne! Nocturne is published by Flatout Games, it's designed by David Iezzi, and its art is done by Beth Sobel.
Now what you see today is a prototype of this game, so all the components might look slightly different in the final version. But with that said, the game is coming to Kickstarter, so feel free to check out that link below. But before we tell you how the game is played, the theme of this game is that you are fox mystics, and you're casting spells in the forest in hopes of acquiring the best items so that you can win.
Exactly, you are.
You are?
Enchanted items.
Enchanted. Magic.
But with that quick explanation out of the way, let's take a look at how the game works.
As always, you'll begin by setting up. Each player receives a character card, spell tokens, and a starter concoction card. Various decks are shuffled and twilight goals are displayed, and item tiles are arranged on a grid. Nocturne is played over 2 rounds, Twilight and Moonlight, where players cast spells to collect items, aiming to score the most points. During the game, players take turns casting spells and passing. Casting spells involves placing a spell token on an item. This is essentially a grid-based bid system, as if you want to stay in the contention, you'll have to place adjacent to the highest spell token a token of your own with a higher value. As soon as all players pass or the highest token is placed, the corresponding player is able to collect the item tile. Collecting these tiles is a primary way to score points, and some tiles even offer unique effects. As tiles are won, you'll check to see if any of the Twilight goals have been achieved. If you did not win the tile, you'll collect your tokens and have an option to place one in the forest sprite board. The highest value spell tokens will be able to draft tiles at the end of the round. Now the round ends when all item tokens are taken. At this point, the forest sprite board will be resolved. Any remaining spell tokens can be converted to a shadow spell token, and a new round is played. In the Moonlight round, the main difference is that shadow spell tokens will be used, and Moonlight goals allow all players to score rather than everyone racing for the gold cards as you did in the Twilight round. At the end of the game, once all tiles have been collected, you're now ready to score. Points are calculated based on the tile scoring conditions, symbol sets for concoction cards, Twilight and Moonlight goals, and 2 points for any leftover spell tokens. You'll tally the scores and the player with the most points wins. So what do you think?
I liked this game. It was different from what Flatout Games have done before, which I thought was new and fun and exciting for me to get to the table. So there's that. And then also I was thoroughly surprised because the bidding mechanic is something that I'm not like the biggest fan of, particularly when it's like the main thing of a game. So having this interwoven into this game was a nice surprise because I enjoyed the bidding of it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I'm always a big fan of Flatout Games, so getting to experience new ones is always very exciting. And this one felt extremely different, like you said before, with the whole spatial bidding mechanism. It's not something I've seen in a lot of other games.
Yeah.
And we actually got to try it for the very first time with the Flatout team. So that was even like the icing on top of getting to try it with some of the developers around with the game too. So it was very cool. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to transition to talk about reasons why you should check it out.
We should probably just do that right now then.
Well, that was my transition.
Oh, clever, clever. Speaking of clashing of mechanics, this is probably a reason you'd want to check this game out, is it takes a lot of different mechanics like set collection, bidding, oh gosh, what am I missing?
Like spatial bidding too.
Yes, like spatial.
Like area control almost.
Yes. Secret objectives, like contracts type thing. Like this takes a lot of different mechanics and I think like melds them really well, and it's fun to see like that happen. So if you're looking for something that has like this unique combo of mechanics, Nocturne's worth checking out.
Yeah, the bidding in the spatial way is so clever because you're always the paths that you're able to build and maybe prevent people from getting some of the tiles that you want by bidding lower potentially on them, because the tiles that you bid on people can't take or bid for until the next turn. And even the whole layer of corner bidding, so making or corner casting, which is when you basically win a tile and automatically win the second tile because it's just secluded in its own little pocket. I think the strategy here is very neat. The other thing too that I'll mention is the 2 rounds.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of games have like here's a few rounds you're going to play, but here it's almost like the first phase and the second phase in the game. And the reason I like it so much is because in the first phase, it's more of the exploratory phase. Sure, you're bidding on stuff, you're seeing what's around, but in the second phase with the new items for layout, you essentially know everything that is going to happen, or all the items that are available to you on the board. So it's really building the strategy of like, oh, I only have one round left, how can I maximize my points? And what do I really need to prioritize my bidding on? Because hey, if Tyler takes this mushroom right here, I'm not going to get any points for mine. So those layers in decision making is really fun, and even the goal transition is really fun from the immediate goals to everyone gets to partake in the goals. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about the rounds is it has different feel, because like the first one you're racing towards those goals, and the second one you're still racing, but it feels different because it's still game end. You can score multiple of them, but you can also get like corner bids, and those will score you points, and those are something that people are racing towards or maybe planning towards trying to win. The interesting thing about that too is as you're bidding throughout the game, you can like optionally put one of your tokens into that other area to like at the end of the round get one of those token or tiles. So those can really kind of help you like push your strategy forward. They can save you. And at the same time, you are risking putting like a high bid in there so you can guarantee first selection. I think that's like a good balance. So if you like that.
And it's fun to push people off the forest sprite boards as well,
true.
because the higher the tokens are, the more that sliding happens. So it's kind of you're planning for that strategy, but it might not work out in your favor too.
Yes, I agree.
The last thing I was going to say is the art in this game is absolutely lovely. It's done by Beth Sobel, who has done a lot of the other Flatout games as well. And it's just, I want to frame it all and hang it all around me and go on a mystical forest experience.
Yeah, who doesn't love being a fox mystic that looks as beautiful as these do? You are totally right. But with that out of the way, we should probably talk about why this game might not be for somebody.
So if you're really big into theme, although this game does have a theme, you don't really feel it while you're playing the game. I think majority of the game you're really just focused on trying to make sure all the mechanics are in place and your planning is in place and you're counting all the points, because there's a lot of things to pay attention to. So I think the theme is a little bit lost, or it has been in my experience when playing the game.
I think I agree with you. So if you're into theme, then that's probably not something that Nocturne necessarily provides. The other thing that I would say is that more on a points perspective from this game is I did feel like I was very caught up in trying to understand how I was going to score the most points. Obviously, like after playing it a bit more, you'll learn how to do a little bit better with the set collecting. But going from your concoction cards to the set collection that was actually happening, and knowing that your concoction cards can only, they basically take up a symbol, managing that, especially when you get like 3 or 4 of them, can be a little difficult, a little overwhelming, and I think that the back and forth also like pulled me away from the other scoring opportunities. Yeah.
So a lot to remember all at the same time, because you're dealing with the concoction cards, you're dealing with tile placement, but you're also paying attention to twilight and the moonlight goals.
That's true.
You're also paying attention what everybody else is doing, what tokens they have, what tiles they're potentially going for, if you want to be competitive, of course. So there's a lot of layers in what you can pay attention to, and because the game is fairly fast-paced, it requires definitely multiple plays to get to a place where you feel like you are playing competitively and you're getting that high score you're looking for.
The only other thing that I can kind of think about, and this is more of an opinion than anything, this game plays a lot better at 4 players, in my opinion. Playing at two players, there is that like back and forth that happens, but it's much more exciting and dynamic to see the bids like move along the track in a more like large way, because there's 3 people in between you before your next turn. I thought that was created a better dynamic for the game. So if you're looking for a game that plays well at 1 to 2, this does play well, but it plays better at 3 to 4.
I agree with that. I think 2-player was definitely a head-to-head. You're trying to outthink the other person, which I think took me out of the game a little bit from the actual core mechanics. But with that said, what do we think of Nocturne?
I enjoyed this game. Like I said before, bidding is not necessarily the mechanic I lean towards, so it was good to see this like intermingling of bidding and set collection in an essence, and they did a really good job with it. Like we had already said before, there's the theme was a little a mishit for me, but that being said, it's absolutely beautiful, and I think the gameplay like flows pretty well.
Yeah, I really like the table presence. I like the mechanics. I think there's a really good flow to the game. I'm really excited at the different mechanics because typically when there's too many mechanics in a game, I get a little bit nervous sometimes that it's a little bit too busy. But this one didn't feel busy at all. I think it felt just right for what it was. And lastly, I really enjoyed, again, the 2 rounds of the flow of the game between round 1 and round 2 and almost how much that impacted the strategy. It's definitely one I'll get to the table again.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the art alone will definitely make some of our friends be like, "Can we play that?" So
It's pretty.
It's worth it.
Who doesn't want to be a fox mystic? And they have fun names.
They do have fun names.
Flint Whiskerstone.
This one is Abigail Bushtail, and I think this one's my favorite. So,
You're a bushtail.
oh, what does that even mean?
Exactly. For our question of the day is, if you were to name a fox mystic, what would you name them?
Ooh, puns very much encouraged.
Yeah, this
on
is a
one.
pun-friendly zone.
Yes.
The more puns, the better. If you potentially weave many in, we'll even start a pun count.
Yeah, apologies if you don't like puns, but that's besides the point. If you're looking to learn more about Nocturne, it is coming to Kickstarter, so you can check the link down below and see what's going on there.
There's lots of more information for you to learn about the game to see if it's up your alley. And if you found this video helpful, give us that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Do all the things that YouTube likes for you to do that we also appreciate.
Exactly, because we love to make board game content and we do it on the weekly. But until next time, we will see you later.
Bye!